Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to Laserprint. Hopefully my audio is improved. I had to go dig out a better mic. But also, theme song. We have a theme song, finally. I think maybe this episode. It's either this episode or next episode we'll have the theme song. But anyways, comics. We got quite a bit this week. And unlike last week, most of these are actually really good and very little is disappointing. First off, we're going to be looking at DCKO number 3. This is written by Scott Snyder with also some writing in the interlude by Joshua Williamson, art by Javi Fernandez, and art in the interlude by Zermanico. Colors are Alejandro Sanchez. The crux of this one is, in this issue, the top 8 from the last couple of issues we've been looking at for the tie-ins get to choose partners, meaning round 3 in this is tag team. So Zatanna chooses John Constantine, Superman chooses Shazam, Luthor makes a daring choice in Supergirl, Cyborg teams up with Connor Hawk, which is very confusing for me because they don't really share all that much in common. I thought it would have been somebody else from the Teen Titans, but more Connor Hawk is a good thing. Diana chooses Big Barda, which makes sense. Guy chooses Hal Jordan. And again, this is me being petty. I think it should have been Kyle because they are better friends and have been seen as better friends than Hal and Guy. But Kyle may not be actually technically part of the DCKO tournament because of current ongoings in the other comic books. Also, Hal is really weirdly drawn as original costume Kyle Rayner. And what I mean by that is like the first couple issues of Kyle being in the generic Green Lantern uniform rather than his crab mask personalized attire that he's more known for. And I think he's actually currently in right now. But he doesn't look like Hal from the artwork. He looks like original opening 90 series Kyle, which makes it reading a little bit better for me because fuck Hal Jordan. Aquaman chooses Hawkman. Again, another very bizarre choice in my opinion because those two, I guess it's just the sea in the air thing. They aren't really known for teaming up a whole bunch. They're not, I guess it's because they were on the Justice League together at one point. I can't really think of a reason because Aquaman could have chosen like Black Manta. They've worked together in the past. Ocean Master could have worked together. Aqualad, any of the Aqualads, literally, even his own wife Mira, but for some reason Hawkman was super weird choice. The Joker chooses the Batman Who Laughs, who is an interesting choice, but it turns out it is somebody completely different. The biggest things to know is that Superman at one point to win his matches because he goes up against Hal and Guy. Shazam shares his powers with Superman. So we literally get Super Shazam. And then he does, if you're in the video game community, you'll understand this reference, especially the fighting game community. He does a power geyser to knock them out. On the Luthor side of things, Luthor and Kara side of things, Luthor uses a mixture of artificial kryptonite beam, mixing in multiple colors to bring Kara to heal and kind of mutates her into a semi-controllable mutant. That was a little weird. Joker, through means, regains his cosmic ability and literally becomes Emperor Joker to win his fight against Zatanna and John Constantine. And then Barda wins. Diana and Barda wins her match because she has Barda use a full power, full body punch to set off her bracers, which makes a massive concussive blast, knocking out, I believe it was Cyborg and Connor Hawk. That was actually pretty cool. The coolest thing in this one would have to be the Super Shazam and the Return of Emperor Joker, because even Joker realizes this is just unfair even for him. The issue ends with the top 4 taking on the Absolute Trinity and Dark Booster Gold. honestly, this was a great issue. The art was simply fantastic. Fights were well choreographed and well done. I am looking forward to the next issue. Following that up, we are looking at the Green Lantern Corps number 12. This is written by Morgan Hampton, art by Fernando Parson, Will Conrad, and Claire Albert, and Jason Paz. Colors by R.F. Peratino. We get a little bit more of the, I guess this is going to be the B plot right now with Fatality and that water alien from a while ago. Slowly coming back to take revenge on Oa because the water alien has absorbed his own home planet and become another living planet with Fatality just on it for the ride at this point. But the crux of the issue is all the commanding officers of the different Lantern Corps that are all living on Oa meet up. They meet up on neutral ground, but unfortunately Larfleeze double crosses them and reminds pretty much everybody why he is probably one of the most dangerous lantern users in the DC universe at this point, because he goes full kaiju, corrupts anybody with his orange light of avarice to corrupt anybody that's not a orange wielding users, including John's girlfriend, but technically wife, but also not wife, because this is Katmatui, his old wife, but this is a different version of Katmatui, who brings down some hard truths to John before she's put in a science cell so they can get everything under control. There is some other stuff with Aya because they are making Aya a very pivotal character in this arc. I can tell Morgan Hampton really was a fan of Green Lantern, the animated series, and despite the fact that I do not like Hal Jordan, I really do love Green Lantern, the animated series. Guys, go give that a watch, by the way. They are making a point to make Aya a very centralized character in the Green Lantern Corps book, which I am more than okay with, but this was a fantastic issue. I really enjoyed it. It's nice seeing the other Lantern Corps out and about and being used properly again, and Larfleeze being a primary threat is definitely something that is always fun and needs to happen more often. Next up, we were looking at Wonder Woman Black, White, and Gold issue one shot. This is the 2016 special. These are multiple stories. The first one is called Decent Descent, written by Tom King and Mitch Gerard, written and illustrated. But the story was by Tom King and Mitch Gerards, but it was written and illustrated by Mick Gerards. Last Flight is written by Alyssa Wong with art by Karen Darbo. Truth Unreal is written by Steve Orlando and art by Rossi Guilford. And Peachtree is written by Jordi Belair with art by Paulina Ganachu and colors by Kendall Good. I will say I really enjoyed the first. I enjoyed all the stories, but the ones that really stood out to me were Last Flight by Alyssa Wong, mostly because it brings back Xanth and her Realm of the Asian Afterlife from the book Spirit World, which was a miniseries when they had a large API pointed push with more API characters in the DC universe. I really enjoyed that book and that world that they brought to life. Xanth was my standout favorite character because they bridged the afterlife between the world of the dead and the living, and presented just a really neat mythos that got added into the magical world of DC. And DC does magic at a rate Marvel could never hope to imagine, in my opinion. And adding an Asian-inspired influence to that afterlife really helped attach me to that character. So Wonder Woman wants to go give Steve a plane that she made of paper because small trinkets can be passed on via Xanth to loved ones in the afterlife. And Diana just wanted to let Steve know that she was thinking about him. But as a result, Xanth, of something happening with that paper airplane, Xanth and Wonder Woman travel into the actual afterlife and fight a demon fox. And then Diana's like, he'll find the plane eventually. Diana has all the hopes that Steve will be coming back to her. And if there's any one major story I feel is in continuity with the current run of Wonder Woman, it's probably this story. Steve Orlando's book story was also pretty good. It's Diana confronting a false prophet and using the lasso of truth to quell that cult that was rising up to prevent any harm. Peach Thief was just cute because it's kid Diana trying to hunt down a peach thief, and it turned out to be Jumpa, her flying magical kangaroo, and it's just cute. Next up, we're on Avengers. We are looking at this because it is the 800th issue of Avengers. Unfortunately, this A story is kind of lackluster because, once again, Jed MacKay is writing it. And again, this goes back to what I said last week. Jed MacKay is not great on large team books with A-list heroes where there's not a lot of wiggle room to work with them. They have to be certain ways. And I know it sounds mean, but he's only got 2 more issues before the revamp. And Avengers at this point does need a hard revamp. So, yeah, not the greatest thing. This is the final fight between Kang the Conqueror and his supervillain team versus the Avengers. And it's fine. It's just nothing to write home about. The B story, though, the backup in this that celebrates the anniversary of the Avengers, is written by Brian Michael Bendis. And art by Mark Bagley. And while I do harp on Bendis for what he did to Superman and, well, DC in general, he is somebody I can trust with the Avengers because of his spectacular run during the New Avengers and then the Mighty Avengers and the Secret Avengers. That whole era showed that he does know what he's writing when he's writing certain people. And I will always, again, call a spade a spade. He's not great in DC. I could not tell you anybody memorable or any runs he did memorable in DC aside from just flat out ruining Superman. But he is probably one of the best Avengers writers up there next with Jonathan Hickman and some of the older crew of writing Avengers like George Perez and whatnot, even though George did art. But especially the team of Bendis and Bagley makes it well worth reading. So if anything, I would say get this for the backup story over the main story. So this was written by Jed MacKay with art by Farid Karami and colors by Federico Blee. Next up, we're going to go over to Black Cat, issue 6. This is written by G. Willow Wilson. Guest artist is Andreas Genolit and colors by Brian Reber. Pretty much Felicia has to go to Vampire Court because of an earlier issue, and she recruits Matt Murdock to be her lawyer to get her out of it. Not everything goes as planned, but it's still a fun issue to read. Good comedy, especially between Matt and Felicia. Felicia's ability, which I forgot Felicia actually does have a superpower that was given to her by criminals. So, yeah. She has tachyokinesis, which is the ability to manipulate probability fields, which is kind of similar to the old school hex magic that Wanda could do back in the day before it went full reality warping. Pretty much, it's just one of those. Felicia can make bad luck happen by altering probability fields around her or the probability field around people. So she uses that to kind of get out of the court. Next up, we're looking at Dungeons of Doom. This is another epilogue to the Doom thing. This is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson and Ben Percy. Art by Justin Manson, Robert Gill, Carlos Magno, Jeffries Genetti, and Carl Story. So we are following 3 different stories. The first up, people are invading the Castle Latveria to loot Castle Dumenstad from it. So we are following the U.S. military and the Red Hulk as they try to find things in Doom's Castle for U.S. government acquisition. We are also following Latvian freedom fighters who are following and trying to reclaim historical artifacts so they cannot fall into non-Latvian hands. And we're following some AIM agents. Everybody's kind of either hit or miss. The better one is the Latvian freedom fighters. Then the American, even though they are the first of the story, is okay. They find a mutant that technically shouldn't exist. I think they are a mutant that deals with time travel, which that never is going to go well. And then the AIM agents stumble upon hideous monstrosities beyond feasible imagination, and bad things happen to them. But that's okay because they're AIM agents. Book's good. Art style is hit or miss depending on which one you're reading at any given moment or which team you're with at any given moment. But it's still a good book, and I'm glad we're taking this look at Doom. Okay, this is one of the bad books, but we got to put it on here because I do want to be fair and try to look at everything I can or want to. Just try to promote because everybody's book can be their first book. So we're going to look at Knull #1. This is written by Al Ewing and Tom Waltz with art by Juanan Ramirez and colors by Eric Arcanasiga. Knull has been captured by Hela and is capturing her thing. We find out what Knull's true cosmic nature is he is a being of the void itself. And then Knull escapes Hela's capture, but it all goes according to Hela's plan. The book was fine. I just can't recommend it because I just don't have any attachment to Knull. Maybe you guys do because of the King in Black storyline, but at this point, I think Knull should have been abandoned or put to sleep for a good long time and then brought back later because it's just fine. There's nothing really gripping about it or anything. It's just, hey, here's what Knull's doing. So it is what it is. Next up, we're looking at Luna Snow World Tour #1. I am unsure if this is going to be a continued book or a one-shot. This is in conjunction with Marvel Rivals. This is written by Greg Pak with art by Arid Andedito and Takashi Miyazawa with art by Yen Nitro. Pretty much because Luna Snow supported Doom during Doom's reign of the world, she's trying to get back out on tour and people are holding protests at her concerts. So her management dumps her and brings in a J-pop idol, I believe, who may be a mutant with hypnotic powers. So Luna, after a couple months, goes punk rock and tries to climb back up the charts to no avail, where she runs into Sunfire in Japan. Also, we are seeing the much needed to see Filipino superhero wave. Shout out to my best friend and sister from another mother, Carolina, who one day hopes to cosplay Wave. Love you, sis. They go and combat this thing, and it turns out that the idol is not at fault. It's actually her manager, and I got to give it to Greg Pak. I thought the manager was somebody different in the Marvel Universe, and it turned out to be someone completely unexpected. And it goes from there. Also, there's a small team up with Rick Jones for zero reason. And I can tell this is not fully in continuity because Rick Jones is currently Toxin at the moment. But he may be Toxin, just didn't use the symbiote this issue. I don't know. We just see Rick Jones there because he's also rock and roll dude of the Marvel Universe. But no, definitely recommend this. I'm always going to advocate for API books if I can do it. Greg Pak has proven time and time again he's a solid writer with multiple hits like the Shang-Chi series, Agents of Atlas, pushing API superheroes. He, I believe, also did World War Hulk, but I may be wrong on that one. Or Planet Hulk, but again, I may be wrong on that one. But he also did Amadeus Cho. So definitely go give this a look. We are also looking at Uncanny X-Men because that book is back. And as I said last week, this is one of the books you need to be looking at if you want to read X-Men. If you like good X-Men or, like me, are a fan of New Mutants, because this book is literally just New Mutants under the X-Men name banner, this is what you need to be reading. So this is written by Gail Simone with art by David Marquez, colors by Matt Wilson. It is Nightcrawler's birthday, so Nightcrawler goes out on a small date with the nice mother of two that he has been kind of seeing on and off, and there's a lot of sexual tension between them. So she just tells Nightcrawler, "I want you to bamf me," and he's like, "Are you sure?" It's like, "Yeah, I've always wanted to be bamf me." So he bamfs her 4 times, which is just the most hilarious X-Men type of sexual innuendo I've ever heard, but it's still hilarious nonetheless. They have a really, really good birthday party for him. Very, very sweet. And then the main problem, Mutina, who is kind of an existential threat to mutants. She's kind of like a mutant version of Bloody Mary, where if you summon her, she comes and kills you. And at this point, she just wants to... She's also a film star for... So she's a mutant who has the ability to be summoned. She kind of like blends in the shadows. So she kind of is like a Bloody Mary in that type. But she's also a horror movie star who plays often the horror antagonist rather than protag. So she wants to try and be an X-Men, just like for any given time. And of course, these Rogue, Gambit, Wolverine, and Nightcrawler is like, God no. But Nightcrawler, being Nightcrawler, at least wants to test her to give her the opportunity to be an X-Men, because it is Nightcrawler. Kurt is one of the most compassionate and understanding people you will ever read in comics. Also, can legally marry you because he is a ordained minister. They fight. She makes veiled threats against anybody because of her powers of blending in the shadows. She can literally appear anywhere at any point. She is good enough to be able to fight Wolverine and get hits on him that would be lethal to anybody else but Wolverine. So there's that. This is fantastic. I think this is a great one-shot story, but I am looking forward to seeing where this is going because, again, I cannot praise this book enough. But again, I'm also biased in this review because I am a huge New Mutants fan, and all this book is, again, is New Mutants. You'll hear me saying the same thing about Exceptional X-Men when it starts back up, because I'm also a huge Generation X fan, and Exceptional X-Men is just Generation X. Moving over into some of the indies we're looking at, I can definitely recommend G.I. Joe, number 17. This is the 5/5 part of the 5-part series, The Dreadnought War. This is written by Josh Williamson and art by Tom Riley, colors by Jordi Beller, and man, does it show because Jordi Beller is doing her top-notch work with her colors in this issue. So we are in the finale of this. It is down to the Dreadnoughts have Cobra Commander cornered, and Cobra Commander being very, very good in this G.I. Joe series. Like, this is probably the most dangerous version of Cobra Commander I've ever seen since that one-shot mini-movie G.I. Joe Resolute, where he just strikes a bargain with the Dreadnoughts. It's like, I'll just pay you. I'll just pay you. You won't be a part of Cobra. You'll be independent contractors. You'll have your freedom. You can have parties. You can have money. Just come work for me. And they're like, sure. So then it's a big fight between the Dreadnoughts and the G.I. Joes. So this is where all the action figures smash together. Clutch reveals the secret that Hound is officially a part of the G.I. Joes. Officially, in the fact that he is going to be fighting for them. Duke does not like this because he is very xenophobic against the Transformers at this point. So there is that. And then the issue ends, and we get another big reveal. Again, I definitely recommend this. This is part of the Energon universe, where G.I. Joe, Mask, Transformers, and a third book, which I believe is now wrapping up, called Void Rivals, is happening. So we are going to be getting G.I. Joe, Mask, and Transformers all interacting with each other soon. God, this was such a good issue. They really did a great job wrapping this up, and then we were right into the new thing of with the big reveal of certain characters, and Duke having to deal with a Autobot potentially being on his team. And then rounding out the night, we got Transformers number 28. This is written by Robert Kirkman, art by Dan Moore, and colors by Mike Spicer. Guys, this is book of the week, hands down. Oh my God, so much good stuff in this book. It opens with Megatron literally having a PTSD panic attack from when he was tortured and partially disassembled by Cobra, specifically Cobra Law, so that they could learn their technology, learn about cybertronian technology, and he is just rampaging. It literally takes the entirety of the current team of Decepticons to pin him down long enough to where he regains his mind. And then we smash cut over to the Autobots, where Ultra Magnus is stepping down as being a Magnus, which we learn in this universe is a title that can be bestowed. Similar to Prime, it's more of being the military equivalent of a leader of the Vanguard. So he bestows that title and upgrades RC so that she is RC Magnus. So RC gets a visual upgrade. We have a small talk with Thundercracker, and who is now officially an Autobot, and Soundwave about where their places are in life. And then we get, this is probably one of the most brutal things, because as Prime orders everybody to go establish a perimeter around their base so that they can establish a perimeter. I'm repeating myself for no reason. They wonder where Trailbreaker is. Trailbreaker has just wandered on off just to go bask in the majesty that is the wilderness of Earth. And then the Decepticons roll in. And Megatron he goes full-blown Galvatron crazy and mutilates the living hell out of Trailbreaker. Like, it is honestly terrifying. It's not quite Shockwave terrifying, because if you're a Transformers fan, remember, there's Satan, there's Lucifer, and then there's Shockwave. But Megatron right now is almost Marvel Comics Galvatron crazy. And if you know what I'm talking about, that's terrifying. Even the Decepticons are like, okay, we need to take a step back. Also, in this book, we learn that the Mask plotline is starting up because Venom is slowly going to start shaping up. We get to see Miles, I forget what his last name is. It's been so long since I've seen anything from Mask. I can only remember Tracker. Miles Venom? Let me look it up real quick. Not Miles Warren, that's the Jackal. Not Miles Morales, that's Spider-Man. From Mask. It is Miles from Mask. No, not that one. Miles Mayhem. So we see Miles Mayhem escape military custody, and via his mask being able to spray acid on people, so he kills a few soldiers, and then his helicopter comes down, picks him up, and then transforms into the jet. And the military officer that's the liaison to the Autobots ends the issue by saying, somebody get me Mac Tracker. Yeah, so guys, this was this week's books. Please go out, go get them. You will not be disappointed with any of them except maybe Knull. Knull is probably not worth picking up. And guys, if you want to recommend me comics, please reach out in the Laser Time Facebook community group and send me messages, or just put down, hey, check this out. I'll give it a shot at the very least, and put the issue on put it on the show. Maybe definitely give you guys a shout on who recommended what. But that's it for this week. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you guys next time. Later.